Theodore. He's a tugboat and a friendly tugboat too. A friendly tugboat too. Oh, Theodore likes to do the things that friendly tugboats do. Pushing and a pulling in the great big harbor, in the great big world is so much fun. So many brand new things to discover. Waking with the sun, gotta get the job done. Oh, Theodore and Emily, Theodore, Hank and George, and the harbor master too.
Hello. Whoa, we're having a big storm out there today. Whew. I wish to stop for my daily walk along the shore, but it's too wild and wet out there for me. Now, I do think that a big storm is exciting, but I'd much rather watch it from inside where it's safe and dry. Oh, good. Everyone's all snug in their dock. Oh, look at that. Even Brunswick barge. And it wasn't always like that. Oh, no. See, Brunswick, he always looked for thrills and chills. He just loved danger. That was before his big scare.
One morning, Theodore was moving Brunswick barge with a load of supplies for the oil refinery. Maybe something really exciting will happen today, said Brunswick. Maybe, said Theodore. Maybe, Brunswick went on, a great big iceberg will suddenly float right in front of us. Brunswick, said Theodore, giant icebergs don't float into the harbor. Brunswick was always hoping for thrills and chills. But maybe this time, Brunswick went on, a whole harbor full of whales will push the iceberg right in front of us. Or maybe I'll just get you safely to your dock, smiled Theodore, pulling up to the refinery dock. And a giant snorkel clam swallows us in one gulp, Brunswick babbled on. Brunswick, there are no such things as giant snorkel clams, said Theodore. Now let's get you unloaded. After Brunswick had unloaded his cargo, Theodore began to take him back to his own dock again. Theodore, can we take the long way home? Said Brunswick. He was still hoping for something exciting to happen. Just then, there was a loud whistle. Theodore was calling all the tugs into the great ocean dock. Has something terrible happened? Said Brunswick in his bubbly kind of way. I doubt it, Theodore told the barge. But I do have to take you right home now. Oh, said Brunswick sadly. Theodore kind of felt sorry for Brunswick. It wasn't easy being a barge. The other tugs were gathered around Theodore when Theodore arrived at the great ocean dock. There's a storm heading towards the harbor, Theodore was telling everyone. This would be a good time to practice our storm drills. That is a very good idea, Theodore, said the dispatcher. Please proceed immediately. The tugboats tooted to say, on our way, and headed off to prepare the harbor for the storm. George and Emily tied all the ships to their docks with extra tow ropes. Hank set out double bumpers so ships wouldn't scrape themselves against the docks when the waves hit them. Theodore made sure that storm sheets covered over all the loose equipment on the shore so it wouldn't be blown away by the wind. Theodore's job was to see that the barges were all safe and secure. Can I go out in the storm with you, Theodore? Please? Brunswick begged. I have to make sure you're tied up safely to your dock, said Theodore seriously. But I'm not afraid, Brunswick groaned. I'm sorry, Brunswick, said Theodore. Well, don't tie me too tightly, said Brunswick, disappointed. I want to feel the big waves roll me around. After Theodore had finished making sure the barges were safe, he returned to the great ocean dock. Theodore was listening to his special weather equipment. It appears the storm is slowing down out on the ocean, the safety tug announced. It may not reach us as soon as I thought. Theodore, said the dispatcher. Yes, sir, Theodore replied. It seems we have extra time, so I would like you to take a load of storm supplies out to Cayley's Cove, just to be on the safe side. Please, choose a barge to help you. Well, of course, Theodore chose Brunswick. Boy, this is going to be exciting, Brunswick blared. Theodore was tugging the barge out of the harbor, loaded with storm supplies for Cayley's Cove. Will it get so dark that we can't see? Will the waves be higher than your hat or higher than your smokestack? Brunswick couldn't wait for the storm to begin. Great big waves could splash all kinds of stuff right up on our decks. Giant snorkel clams. Those are dangerous, right, Theodore? I don't think so, Theodore grinned. Brunswick began rocking back and forth excitedly. Will I be swinging and swaying and heaving and hauling so much that Brunswick, interrupted Theodore, please try and float properly. We're floating straight into disaster, Brunswick bellowed cheerily to Bedford Boy. Watch out for snorkel clams! According to my latest calculations, Fodak was saying back at the Great Ocean Dock, the storm has picked up speed again. It will hit us soon, and it may be a bit bigger than I expected. How much bigger, Fodak? Asked the dispatcher. Well, it's the biggest storm to hit our harbor in 51 years, to be precise, said Fodak. I guess that's pretty big, said Hank. Theodore, thought the dispatcher. He remembered he had sent Theodore out to Cayley's Cove with storm supplies. Now, he was beginning to worry. He's probably too far out to turn back now, frowned Fodak. Constance, the Coast Guard, is on patrol near there, the dispatcher said thoughtfully. If there's any trouble. I hope not, said Hank. Theodore had reached the wide open ocean. Cayley's Cove was further up the coast, but the storm seemed to be almost on top of them. Trouble? Shouted Brunswick over the howling winds. No, grunted Theodore. This storm is just bigger than Fodak said it would be. The bigger the better, hollered Brunswick. Whee! He hollered as a big wave hit. Oh, this is exciting! I heard a giant wave can turn a boat right over upside down. Will we turn over upside down, Theodore? No, gasped Theodore, trying to keep Brunswick and himself steady. But if we did turn right over upside down, Brunswick merrily went on, then we would probably sink, wouldn't we, Theodore? I mean, if we were swinging and swaying and heaving and hauling... Brunswick, shouted Theodore, hang on to your cargo. The storm was going to hit them hard. Theodore could feel it deep in his timbers. By the time Theodore made the turn towards the coast and the entrance to Cayley's Cove, it seemed as if the sea and the sky were fighting each other to see which would be on top. Not much further, he grunted, gasping for breath and more tired than he could ever remember being. We'll be okay, he shouted, more to make himself feel better than Brunswick. Or we'll sink like a stone, chirped the barge, and get swallowed by a snorkel clam. Wouldn't that be exciting, Theodore? Well, the storm was so wild and wicked, Theodore was starting to believe anything was possible. He decided to button his extra thick emergency tow rope onto Brunswick. Just in case, he told the barge. In case I'm swinging and swaying and heaving and hauling so much that... Brunswick, shouted Theodore, please, try and stay still. Well, this time, Brunswick wasn't trying to roll back and forth. The storm was doing it all for him. Theodore did his best to move close beside the barge, but one moment he was there, and the next... Theodore's tow rope snapped like spaghetti. The storm slapped Brunswick away as if he were a tiny little rowboat. Whoopee! Bellowed Brunswick. Look at me go! Brunswick! Cried Theodore. It was no use. The storm swallowed him up and took him away. Isn't this exciting, Theodore? Called Brunswick. Theodore! Brunswick looked around, but all he could see was the the coast near Cayley's Cove, and it was getting closer and closer.
You can stop me now, Theodore, hollered Brunswick. This isn't fun anymore. Theodore! I'm gonna crash!
Theodore was still searching for Brunswick. A bright light pierced the gloom. Constance, the Coast Guard ship, was floating towards him, on patrol.
Constance!
Cried Theodore.
We've got to find Brunswick!
Am I okay? Brunswick said softly. Things just didn't feel right. He wasn't swinging or swaying or heaving or even hauling. In fact, he was still, very still. Brunswick looked around.
This is worse than I thought,
he groaned.
I've been swallowed by a snorkel clam.
Actually, Brunswick had been washed up on the rocky shore, but he didn't know that.
Theodore will never find me in here,
he moaned.
Maybe Theodore got swallowed too.
It seemed all the thrills and chills Brunswick had been hoping for had happened. But instead of being excited, Brunswick felt scared. Very scared.
From now on, no more danger,
he shouted.
I just want to be back on the water where I belong.
Then you better hang on, a voice shouted back. It sounded like Theodore. It was Theodore. That was his whistle.
Are you all right, Brunswick?
Called Theodore.
Yes, I'm fine, except I'm caught in a snorkel clam.
You're stuck on the shore. It was Constance, the Coast Guard. We're going to have to pull you out.
Batten your hatches, Brunswick,
added Theodore. Theodore and Constance moved into place to pull Brunswick back into the water.
Oh, I hope this doesn't hurt.
A little later, Theodore and Brunswick were watching the storm pass from the safety of Cayley's Cove. The sun was coming out, and it was time to go home again. Theodore tooted thank you to Constance as she set off to continue her ocean patrol. Theodore, said Brunswick. Yes, Brunswick, said Theodore. That storm was pretty exciting. It sure was, agreed Theodore. It was a little more exciting than I thought it was going to be, continued Brunswick. I was scared. Me too, said Theodore. I hope we have a nice, safe trip back home, Brunswick went on. Well, Theodore couldn't agree more. Theodore, said Brunswick. Yes, Brunswick? Can we take the long way home? I think I'll just stay in my office until this storm is over. It may not be very exciting in here, but at least it's nice and safe. You know, while I'm waiting, I can stamp some postcards. Thanks for visiting us here in the Big Harbor. We'll see you all again next time. Ow! I guess it's not that safe in here. I've got to tell Brunswick about this.
Theodore, he's a tugboat and a friendly tugboat too. A friendly tugboat too. Oh, Theodore likes to do the things that friendly tugboats do. Pushing and a pulling in the great big harbor, in the great big world is so much fun. So many brand new things to discover. Waking with the sun, gotta get the job done. Oh, Theodore and Emily, Voda, Hank and George and the harbor master too.